It's gone. An entire Boeing 777. 239 people. Vanished. No wreckage. No signal. No goodbye. At 1:21 a.m. March 8th, 2014. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. Simply disappears. Radar contact. Lost. Radio silent. The jet was there 1 second. And gone. The words can't describe the confusion that followed. It wasn't a crash. It wasn't a hijack. It was as if the sky itself had swallowed the plane whole. Within hours, every newsroom in the world carried the same breaking headline. A passenger jet has vanished without a trace. People stared at their screens, unable to believe it. How could a 250 million aircraft, packed with the latest technology, just vanish in the 21st century? No mayday, no beacon, nothing. Families gathered at Beijing International Airport, eyes red from exhaustion and fear. They clutched their phones, calling loved ones who would never answer. Screens read, delayed, but deep down, they knew. One woman whispered through tears, if it had crashed, they would have found something, anything. But there was nothing. Governments scrambled. Malaysia, Vietnam, China, Australia. Dozens of aircraft and naval ships raced to the South China Sea. They searched for debris, for signals, for hope. All they found was silence. No oil slick, no floating luggage, not a single clue. It was the beginning of the most haunting aviation mystery of our time. Then, investigators discovered something that sent a chill through every expert in the room. The plane hadn't gone north, toward Beijing. It had turned sharply west, back across Malaysia, then south, into the blackness of the Indian Ocean. Someone, or something, had changed its course. That moment changed everything. This was no technical failure, no simple accident. This was something deliberate, calculated, unimaginable. And as the world watched in disbelief, one question echoed louder than any other. Where is flight MH370? The night began like any other, a quiet hum across Kuala Lumpur International Airport. 12:41 a.m. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 takes off, its lights fading into the dark sky. The destination, Beijing. The flight time, 6 hours. Everything normal. Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah, 53 years old, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 hours of flying experience. Calm, methodical, trusted. Beside him, First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, just 27. It was one of his final training flights. The cabin lights dim, passengers settle in. Some message home, some close their eyes. 239 souls aboard, unaware they are part of a story that will never truly end. The weather is clear. The engines hum perfectly. The Boeing 777 climbs to 35,000 feet at 1:07 a.m. The last routine transmission goes out. Good night, Malaysian 370. Minutes later, the jet crosses the coastline over the South China Sea. Radar confirms its course. Smooth, steady. Then, something changes. At 1:21 a.m., just as the plane is about to enter Vietnamese airspace, its transponder stops. The signal vanishes. Air traffic controllers try to reach the cockpit. Malaysian 370. Do you copy? Silence. No one knows it yet, but at that exact moment, MH370 begins to turn a wide, sweeping left bank. It's heading back toward the Malaysian peninsula. No one on radar sees it. No one is tracking it. For nearly an hour, the jet flies in total darkness, invisible to civilian radar. Military radar later shows what no one expected. MH370 crossed back over Malaysia, then flew out over the Andaman Sea. But why? If it was an emergency, why no mayday? Why turn off the transponder? Why fly so far off course? Every minute that passes, the mystery deepens. At 2:40 a.m., Thai radar picks up a faint signal. Moments later, gone again. By sunrise, no one knows where the plane is. At 6:32 a.m., Malaysia Airlines makes it official. Contact with flight MH370 has been lost. Families in Beijing break down as the announcement spreads through the terminal. Mothers collapse. Fathers scream. Children cry, asking when their parents will arrive. The truth is, no one knows where MH370 went. It didn't crash in the South China Sea. It didn't land anywhere near its path. Somewhere out there, over thousands of miles of open ocean, a Boeing 777 has disappeared from the face of the earth. And as the sun rises over Asia, the search begins. A search that will become one of the most complex, costly, and heartbreaking operations in aviation history. The search began before sunrise. Ships, planes, satellites, everyone looking for the same thing. Anything. An oil slick, a piece of metal, a floating seat cushion, something that said, "This is where MH370 ended." But there was nothing. The South China Sea, empty. The coordinates wrong. The ocean, silent. Within 24 hours, the operation turned global. Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, Australia, the United States, China, all joined in. More than 40 ships and 30 aircraft scoured the waters. They searched day and night. Every way, every island. Still, nothing. Days passed, then weeks, and with each day, hope sank a little deeper into the sea. Satellite data soon revealed something shocking. The plane hadn't gone north at all. It had traveled south, deep into the Indian Ocean, thousands of miles away from where rescuers were searching. This revelation changed everything. The search zone moved to one of the most remote, unforgiving stretches of ocean on Earth. An area so vast it could swallow entire continents in silence. Australia took command. The search stretched across 120,000 square kilometers, the world's largest and most expensive hunt for a missing plane. Ships dragged sonar scanners across the ocean floor. Aircraft flew endless loops, their crews staring into nothing but blue. Weeks turned into months. Then, in July 2015, a piece of debris washed ashore on the island of Reunion, east of Madagascar. A flaperon, part of a Boeing 777's wing. The serial number confirmed it. It belonged to MH370. For the families, that single piece of metal meant everything. Proof. Not hope, but if debris was there, the wreckage couldn't be far. Search teams doubled down. They scanned the seabed for years, mapping mountains, trenches, and ridges no human eyes had ever seen. Still no fuselage, no engines, no flight recorders. The ocean kept its secret. 200 million spent. Over 1,000 days of searching, and yet no sign of the jet's final resting place. The search was finally suspended in 2017. The hardest decision for those who had spent years chasing a ghost. One investigator later said quietly, "We didn't find MH370, but it's out there, somewhere, waiting." The world moved on. But for those left behind, the families, the pilots, the search teams, the questions still burned. How could a modern airliner vanish into thin air? And if the ocean couldn't give answers, where else could the truth be hiding? Everyone wanted an answer. How could one of the safest aircraft in the world, a Boeing 777, simply vanish? Experts, pilots, journalists, conspiracy theorists, all searching for meaning in the static. What really happened to Malaysia Airlines flight MH370? Theories began to explode. Some said hijacking, that terrorists had taken control and diverted the plane to a secret location. But there were no demands, no messages, no signs of violence. Others said mechanical failure, that maybe a sudden decompression knocked everyone unconscious. A silent ghost flight, drifting until it ran out of fuel. But that didn't explain the deliberate turns. The system shut off. The hours of flight that followed. Then came a darker idea, one that investigators didn't want to believe. Pilot involvement. Captain Zari Ahmad Sher, by all accounts, calm and respected. But data recovered from his home flight simulator showed something chilling, a route eerily similar to the one MH370 eventually took. Over Malaysia, across the Indian Ocean, ending in the middle of nowhere. Coincidence? Or something more? Some experts argued. The evidence was clear. The transponder was switched off manually. The aircraft's data systems were disabled. The altitude changes sharp, precise, controlled. Not random, not chaotic. Someone was at the controls. But who? And why? Friends and colleagues of Captain Zari defended him fiercely. He was a devoted husband, a mentor, a man who loved to fly. They said he'd never hurt his passengers. Never. Others pointed to Malaysia's political unrest at the time, suggesting the pilot might have made a desperate, symbolic gesture, a protest written across the sky. Still, there were wilder theories that the plane was shot down accidentally by a military exercise, that it was hijacked and flown to a secret airbase, that it was captured by another nation, or even that it was destroyed deliberately to hide something or someone on board. But none of it fit perfectly. Every theory left pieces missing. Investigators agreed on one thing: the aircraft's final handshake with an Inmarsat satellite, a faint digital ping. It traced a southern arc, pointing to the most remote corner of the southern Indian Ocean. That's where it ended. Fuel gone, engine silent, descending into darkness. The flight that began so normally had ended in one of the loneliest places on Earth. And yet, even with every calculation, every sonar scan, every fragment, no one can say why. It remains the ultimate question in aviation history. Not how it happened, but why. Day after day, year after year. For the families of MH370's passengers, time has stopped. Their lives divided into two moments: before the flight and after it vanished. At Beijing International Airport, the waiting area that morning turned into a scene of heartbreak, tears, screams, prayers, the air heavy with disbelief. Parents collapsed to the floor. Children cried out for answers that would never come. "He called me before takeoff," one woman said softly. "He said, 'See you soon.' I'm still waiting." For weeks, hope flickered. Each rumor of wreckage, each supposed radar sighting. Families ran toward the news, only to be crushed again and again. Many refused to believe the official statements. Because how could a plane just disappear? How could governments, satellites, and experts all fail to find 239 souls? They demanded truth. They protested outside embassies. They held vigils with candles that burned through the night, each flame representing a name, a story, a heartbeat lost in the sky. In Malaysia, Captain Zari's family endured their own kind of pain, accused, judged, isolated. His friends described him as gentle, thoughtful, passionate about flying. The image of a man turned into a mystery and a villain to some. For others, denial became survival. If no wreckage was found, maybe, just maybe, their loved ones were still alive. Some imagined secret islands, hidden runways, secret rescues, because believing they were gone was unbearable. In 2018, a private company, Ocean Infinity, resumed the search using advanced underwater drones. For 6 months, they combed the seabed, tracing every possible lead. But once again, nothing. The ocean kept its secret, and so the world moved on. But the families did not. Every March 8th they gather. Photos, flowers, tears. Their message the same every year: don't stop looking. One mother still keeps her son's room exactly as he left it. The bed neatly made, the curtains drawn, She sits by the window, staring at the night sky, because somewhere out there, above the same stars, her boy took his last flight. The disappearance of MH370 isn't just a mystery of technology. It's a wound in the human story, a reminder that even in an age of satellites and data, there are still places the truth can hide. For the families, closure isn't found in debris or reports. It's found in remembrance, in refusing to let the world forget 239 names that vanished but never disappeared from memory. And until the ocean gives them back, they will keep waiting, because hope, like the sea, never truly runs dry. If this story moved you, share it, not for views, but for voices, for the 239 who never made it home, for the families who still wait, and for the truth that still hides beneath the waves. Because one day, someone will find it, and when they do, the world must be watching.